Audi's Q3 isn't exactly new, but out here at the New York International Auto Show, we finally got our hands on the North American version. This is Audi's smallest and probably one of their most important crossovers in America. This is designed to do business against the XC40, the BMW X1 and X2, and of course the all-new Range Rover Evoque as well. As we can see up front, it gives us the latest Audi design language. We see a variant of the same grille that we've seen on other Audi models before. The typical ring logo right there, some blacked out sections right there in the middle, and what looks to be a radar adaptive cruise control sensor right down there at the bottom. We have an angry interpretation of their full LED headlamps and well-placed parking sensors all the way around. From the side profile, the Q3 is instantly recognizable as an Audi crossover. We have this very distinctive Audi look right back there, and then everything is just a slightly boxier interpretation of what we see in the Audi Q5. The new Q3 has grown a little bit versus the outgoing model, and that really helps improve overall interior room, especially rear passenger accommodations. Restrained and elegant has always been the name of Audi's game, and we definitely see that back here with the Q3 as well. We see sharper lines than we saw in the outgoing model, but overall this is still, again, instantly recognizable as an Audi. At least for now, there is just one engine under the Q3's hood in America. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. It produces 228 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. This is a little bit more powerful than the engines we find under this hood in other world markets, but Audi tells us that they haven't necessarily ruled out a performance model. So in the future, we may find something like an SQ3 available. Unlike the competition, all-wheel drive is actually standard in the Q3, so when you take a look at the overall fuel economy numbers for this vehicle, definitely keep that in mind. The Q3 gives us a little bit of a hint about Audi's styling direction. We see some new seat controls down here, an interesting button arrangement for the power seats, and then a very different door handle right over here. Where Audi really decided to think outside the box was on the inside of the Q3. You can see that we have this new touchscreen infotainment system right here in the dashboard, a standard LCD instrument cluster over here on the driver's side, although you do have to upgrade if you want to get the moving map display. This is the latest version of Audi's infotainment system, and it's quite different than the MMI system that previous generations had. Below that, we find the controls for the automatic climate control, then a button bank down below. But the most striking feature in here really has to be this suede insert right here on the dashboard. This is an Alcantara strip in orange, and that orange continues over to the driver's side and of course over to the armrests on each side as well. We have a very attractive looking Audi steering wheel with a flat bottom and pretty aggressive sport grips, and the overall materials quality is definitely above the last generation Q3, definitely in keeping with the rest of the segment. This particular model has some sport seats, so we have extending thigh cushions which are very comfortable, slightly more aggressive bolsters as well. The boxy profile that helps the Q3 look attractive and rugged on the outside definitely helps improve interior room, even though again this is definitely on the smaller side of the luxury crossover segment. Back here I still have about 1.5 inches of legroom sitting right here behind myself, but if you have taller folks up front you definitely won't have as much legroom as you'll find in the next category up. Headroom is still pretty generous thanks to the very square profile. I have about 1 inch of headroom left sitting right here in the back seat, but overall width is definitely going to be below that next category in size where the Audi Q3, X3, etc. play. One of the other beneficiaries to the size increase of the Q3 is the cargo area back here. So we find a little bit more room, which was more limited in the last generation model. Under the cargo area load floor, we don't find a spare tire, but we do find some additional storage space back there, and that's also where they hide the subwoofer. The previous generation Q3 had one of the lowest base prices in America, but that is changing for this new generation of Q3. The price tag has gone up by about $2,000, making the base model $34,700. Now we do get a decent amount of standard equipment in that base model, including that LCD instrument cluster and of course the large touchscreen infotainment system, things that we don't necessarily find in most of the competition's base models. Definitely not something that you'll find in the BMW X1 or X2, although the Volvo XC40 comes pretty close with its standard equipment. I actually think that the XC40 is probably the Q3's toughest competitor because it is very well priced, but we don't find all-wheel drive standard in that Volvo model. We do have a very fashion-forward interior, very much like we find in the Q3, however. Personally, I think I like the styling of the Volvo a little bit better than the Q3, but I actually like the Q3's interior a little bit better than the Volvo, and I really like that new touchscreen infotainment system. It does appear to be very easy to use, although we haven't had too much time with it. And of course, if you upgrade into the top-end models, we get Audi's excellent digital cockpit, which really is one of the best in the industry. However, you are likely going to be paying more for that in the Q3 than in some of the competition. Be sure and hit that subscribe button down there at the bottom of your screen so you can be updated on all of our latest videos, including a full review of the Q3 just as soon as we can get our hands on it. This should be a very popular model for Audi, and you should definitely put this on your shopping list if you're looking for a small luxury crossover. I'll see you later.